got Mr. Wonderful, y'all. Mr. Wonderful.
And I spell it the way that I spell it. O-N is the only one. Because if the aliens come and get him, the Lord called him home before me, there will not be another.
Everything in.
And what day did you say I do? What was that day? We start from that day. I'm joking. Kind of.
Well, see, here's the thing. I already knew I was jumping the broom with that one. So it was already a
Oh,
done deal.
I heard
She's
that.
like, I already knew.
I know
When I
that.
ask somebody, I'm like, how long have you been married? And they're like 20 years. And I find out that they actually met 20 years ago, but they really only been married for 8 months.
Oh, yeah,
Gotcha,
no,
gotcha.
No.
If we added when I met,
Yeah,
yeah, it's more.
Yeah, people like the extra credit. I get it.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
so good.
When we talk about marriage, what would you say is the biggest lie that most people believe about long-term marriage? What's the biggest lie? Yeah. Like versus actual versus what it takes versus actually reality.
Yeah.
What's the biggest
Yeah,
lie about long?
The biggest lie that people tell themselves about long-term marriage is that they're ready. That's the biggest lie.
You don't know what you're getting yourself into.
You really don't. And listen, I say that as one who is wholly, listen, I'm so married, my marriage is married. I'm good. Okay.
Okay, she got Mr. Wonderful, y'all. Mr. Wonderful.
And I spell it the way that I spell it. O-N is the only one. Because if the aliens come and get him, the Lord called him home before me, there will not be another.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I say I'm not getting married again. I say that all the time.
Now,
Not that I don't love my husband.
That's right.
Right.
I'm not saying
Right.
that.
There is an old joke about a woman who had been married to her husband for decades and decades, and he unfortunately passed away, and she's sitting with her family, and someone says, oh, grandma, well, what are we going to do? We got to get you another husband. And she said, oh, no, you're not signing me up for another one of those. And hear me, this is not a husband bashing, I promise you. It is not. My husband is absolutely wonderful. And marriage is absolutely wonderful. But as my grandmother would say, it is more than an ocean. And so a lot of times people will enter, I think one of the most profound questions I had ever been asked before, and I got married, my husband's name is Troy. One of the things, there was 2 questions that I was asked that just, they were incredible. Why did I want to be married? And why did I want to be married to Troy? Having to answer those questions and really be reflective about my answer gave me pause. Okay, do I know what I'm doing? And yeah, can I stick this out? Now, for me, the answer was a resounding yes. But I think one of the issues that happen, and I meet with a lot of couples, I've met with lots of couples over the years, and many of them have been even before they got married. And so one of the lies that they will tell themselves, I'm ready. And then we start talking, and they'll still say, I'm ready. I'm committed. I'm in. And what they really mean is the deposit on the venue has already been put down, and we already had the colors picked out. And so they really are committed to the day and not the life after it. You have to be committed to the life after it. And you have to make that commitment every day and sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that statement because when I got married, I didn't even go that far into the thinking process. When I met my husband, I just knew he was the one in actuality, to be honest, but I didn't think about how long we would be married. I was always like, if we made it to 5 years, then we doing good. We doing good. If we get 5 good years out of this, we doing good. Okay. But when we got married, the first 2 years were brutal, meaning we were a blended family. And so there were some differences of rearing of household and children.
True.
And so we really had to get to the point of the cohabitation, the understanding each other's different styles, because we didn't take that into account. And so I really kind of like with KayCee, when she talked about you being in your class with you and your hubby, we did the same thing there, but we had the Bernards. So we went through the class with the Bernards, and that in actuality helped us a lot because we were like, oh, we're not the only ones that's cuckoo around here. Some of them a little bit more cuckoo. Some of them got more damn. Okay. We were like, dang, we ain't that bad. I'm thinking when you're in it, sometimes you're thinking you're the only person that's going through this. Don't nobody got dealing with what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But when we got into the class and we got to reading the different books, watching the different videos, and then having just the round tables and just discussing marriage. And we were like, shoot, we can work through this. We can get through this. And so it was just more for us, we really learned how to communicate and disagree or be disagreeable, but not, we can agree to disagree. And I'm not going to treat you different. I'm not going to not cook for you. I'm not going to not sleep in the bed with you. I'm not going to not love you. We just had a disagreement. And can we survive it? Yes. Are we going to agree all the time? No. And that's okay.
Yes.
So once we got to that and understanding each other's styles and just learning how to do life together, it got a lot easier. But those first 2 years, I was like, I don't know what I prayed for. I asked God for all of it. I literally wrote a prayer for us when I first met her. And I was like, baby, they did saying about be careful what you ask for.
Maybe you had a run-on sentence and it just didn't dive correctly. Who knows?
But the 2 years were rough for me. So rough for me may not be rough for other people.
Right.
We made it through. And ever since then, that's my best friend. And that's my hubby. That's my everything. I will say those classes though, definitely, if you're at anybody's church or, they definitely help, especially if I didn't come from a married household. So that was new for me as well. So that dynamic also played a part in it as well.
Yeah.
Like I told you, basic questions in terms of religion. What are you going to raise your children at? Are you going to do that? If not, is there going to be an alternate? What are you going to do? And here was what seems now basic questions were not what we even talked about. All I knew was he was fine, he was mine, and gonna make pretty babies. I'm gonna be and he had me. So, and with me, my picker was broken completely. This was a blind date, so I'm like, oh shit, this is for me.
Bingo.
One thing I think that works in our relationship, for example, I don't stay mad long. I've tried. That's a trait that I got from my dad. We just don't stay mad long. And Aaron is not one to really argue. So if I get geared up, you just want to argue. And either, how a cat will play with a mouse before he's okay. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes of this. But if it is something serious, then we will actually sit and talk about it. But like to your point, you said, Aaron's my best friend. When we travel, I had asked him, hey, where do you want to go? I got to think about it. I'm like, fuck it. We're going here. And I just drag him with me. And he has more, he has more fun than I do. One question, I don't know I think it was when your class or somebody brought it up, the basic things that people talk about, okay, when they say sickness and in health, what does that really mean? So what if your spouse gets into an accident? They don't die, but now you're the permanent caregiver because they're either a quadriplegic.
I do ask that question in the premarital counseling session.
Okay, maybe that was coming from you.
Things like, I don't want to think about that, or, you don't. And you ask what's the biggest lie that people tell themselves. It's a lot of lies. Let me just say that. And lie probably is, listen, I grew up in a time where you didn't say lie, you had to say, because lie is truth. Yeah, you had to tell stories, something like that. So yes, a way about saying lie, because again, some of it is not. Listen, it's not intentional. It's not ill-intended at all, and it's not nefarious. But some people, before they get married, can find themselves entrapped by certain sensibilities that don't serve them well in a marriage. The readiness piece is a part of it, but part of that comes from the fact that people believe love is enough. I love this person, so we're going to be okay. And in the habit of delivering some news. I don't like to use the word good or bad, but it's just news. There are going to be times where love will actually be the thing that will make you stay. There are going to be a lot of other times, though, that love is just simply not enough. You need to have a plan. You need to have a goal. You need to know how to accommodate and negotiate, right? You need to know how to honor the space between where I end and you begin. This whole my person completes me nonsense. Oh, no. It goes back to what we were talking about before. Being healthy and whole is your responsibility. Your responsibility to be healthy individually, to be fulfilled individually, and to be balanced. I always know who's going to fire me as the therapist when a couple or a family comes to me. It's usually the person that reaches out. Not all the time, but it's usually the person that reaches out. And it's because they come to me in the position, fix them, and everything will be okay. Yeah. And then I have to deliver the unfortunate news. That's not therapy. That's not how this works. And it's not how it's going to work.
Yes. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, marriage is 50-50, and it's not.
Never.
Sometimes you get the 50-50, but it could be 80-20, 70-30.
And I'm going to say this. It's about 100-100. But here's the thing. What is my 100 today might not be my 100 tomorrow.
Exactly. Absolutely.
But if I'm looking to give 20 because I don't feel like I have 100 to give, then that's what I shoot for. Do you see the difference? Yeah. If I'm just giving my 100, whatever that is in that moment, all I can ask of myself, that's all my spouse can ask of me. And when that changes, we like conditions, we like neat little boxes, and marriage is not neat.
No.
And it is not one way. So what works for one couple, that same thing doesn't work for the other couple.
Absolutely.
That spouse to the one you have.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times in church, folk don't like that because they like to use scripture to justify the other person making all of the changes and accommodations, and they don't have to do anything. That's the responsibility piece.
But even in marriage, people, I can tell you, I'm not the same person I was day one when we got married or even started dating than I am today. So we both have changed and we've grown together. And when I say also grown apart, I don't mean it in a bad way. we've gone and we've developed ourselves individually, but then collectively, we're still good.
Right.
And I know sometimes people will say marriage is hard. Yes, we've dealt with some hard and harsh things for sure. But because Erin is my friend, when I say marriage isn't hard, I'm talking more or less about the relationship and I have. And I know when they say that finances can definitely be one of the main things to kind of put you on the rocks. I'm not gonna say necessarily break you up, but put you on the rocks. And we've had some financial issues years ago. And it's because the love and the respect that we have for each other, because it could have gone, I could have been knocking on Dr. Monique's doors. I'm like, I need somewhere to stay. She'd be like, you ain't staying here. But seriously, because of our relationship, we were able to weather that storm. So for me, marriage is not hard because of who my partner is. And again, but we've had some harsh things, whether it be family, finances, whatever, that's going to happen. But I got my sidekick over here. So it makes it not hard.
Yeah, but for a lot of people, marriage is hard, and for the very distinct reason that you just acknowledged. I don't know if you're brilliant on accident or on purpose, but it works. Because
I take it any way I can get it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that was brilliant. I'm gonna tell you, because what ends up happening a lot of times in marriage is that people will take the hard things and they don't know the difference between what happened to a person, what happened to one of us, what's happening to one of us, because they confuse that and think that it's happening because of one of us, right? And they don't separate injury to self or other from injury to relationship.
Yeah.
So a lot of times what I will say to couples is, what does the relationship need? And they say, huh? Yeah. What does the relationship need? I need. So now we have to, again, it goes back to words. So now we have to go back again. We have to define some things. What is a need? What is a want? And whose responsibility is that to fulfill that? Because if I came in thinking that I'm going to get married to have all of my needs and desires fulfilled by another person, you set yourself up for what is going to be a very hard marriage.
Yep.
And I get
and
that.
That's not fair to the other person. That's not fair to them either.
We're supposed to please each other.
Right.
Where that at?
Do you think that's why there's a lot?
It wasn't doctor talk, was it?
No, that wasn't doctor. Tell you what. So it's an interesting conversation to say. You did some research, the sexual health of Black women.
I do. And part of it it really, honestly, it's connected to what we were just talking about with couples. So a lot of times with couples, you definitely see a part of their families coming in. And I'm really intentional about, as much as I can, gathering information and creating a safe space for people to open up and be their authentic selves. Unapologetic, I want them to be their unapologetic, authentic selves when we're talking about therapy. Part of that is because I recognize that all of us sitting here are sitting here with, it's not just us. I'm sitting here with you. My grandmother is sitting here. My grandfather is sitting here. Some aspects of my parents are sitting here. My cousins, the aunties that I call great, the aunties greater than I, my aunties are sitting here. I realize that a lot of my upbringing, my biases, it's all here. If I don't invite that into the room,